This is your safe space to get honest, get elevated, and get into your next level era. Here we talk money, mindset, love, and becoming her. Because leveling up is a lifestyle. Elevate your mind and upgrade your life. This is Glow Up with Niecey, where main character energy meets real life growth. Welcome to Glow Up with Niecey. I'm super excited. I finally have a video podcast. And I want to give a huge shout out to one of my best friends who I call like a brother, Rayon, that actually did my Glow Up with Niecey podcast intro. So give it up for him. I thank you so much for that. And if you guys absolutely want to reach out to him to do some sound effects for your podcast, I'm gonna drop it in the bottom below for you all to reach out to him on TikTok or Instagram. Before we dive in, the daily affirmation is, I don't chase timelines, I build momentum. Now, when it comes to creating your vision board, I'll be very honest with you. I feel like every year I try to do a different vision board. I try to listen to what other people are saying. I try to do things that other people are doing, and it never works out for me. I have went down an entire rabbit hole on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest of how many other people do their vision boards. And it all goes back to doing stuff that you feel comfortable with. Like, I remember last year I was on a TikTok, there was this whole trend about doing your quarterly goals, like trying to create your vision board, you know how your business have their quarter goals. Try to do your vision board like that, and you'll be better off completing all your goals. And I'll be honest with you, it did not work for me. That did not work for me. I was trying to follow the trend. The trend was running past me. I just couldn't get on board with it. It was not my speed. It wasn't my style. It wasn't something that I really liked. It wasn't something that I was enjoying doing. And I feel like when you're doing your vision board, it's something that you have to enjoy doing. Because if you do not enjoy doing it, then what's the whole point of it? It doesn't even make any sense to continue on or even moving forward with that process. And I know we're so late in and we're talking about vision board, but I feel like this entire starting off in February is always a good time to actually start your vision board. Hear me out. Because when in January, you're trying to follow everybody else's vision board. You're trying to do different things. You're trying to see what works with you, what doesn't work with you. You're trying to see what sticks, what doesn't really stick. And then you kind of actually find yourself in that process. And that's when you're like, oh crap, yeah, this ain't working out. I can't do this, or I'm not on track for this, or my goals are so way off. And then this is when you realize that. And then in February, when February hits, this is when you really sit down and you really know that, okay, this is the vision board that's going to work for me. This is what's going to help me. This is how I'm going to do my goals moving forward. I didn't like how I did this in January, so this is how I'm going to do in February. And that's the mindset that I had to have, and what helped me in the process of learning trial and error. So there's always different types of vision goals, especially when doing your vision board. There's quarterly goals. You could do your vision boards. You could do your digital goals like Pinterest, or you create a future presentation report. I've done the quarterly goals. So last year I had quarterly goals that I had set myself up that each quarter I would accomplish a specific goal. So let's say quarter one will be January, February, March. I would try to accomplish this goal. And if I don't accomplish it, I'll pass it on to my next quarterly goals, which is April, May, June, and then you move on from there. And don't get me wrong, it works. It works, but it's just sometimes you feel like you are overwhelmed when you don't reach those goals, because you're trying to break down, okay, oh my gosh, I'm not meeting these quarterly goals that I had set in vision. Because come on now, if you're treating your goals like you're a business, when you create your business, you have to accomplish certain quarterly goals, because if not, your business is not deemed as successful. So when you sit down and you think about it, you're like saying to yourself, crap, this ain't working. Now you got to revamp and see what you could do to improve for next quarter, this quarter, that quarter. This is not closing out well. Why is this not closing out well? Life happens, issue happens. There's so many different things that happen. But the second one is my favorite one, is creating a vision board. The reason why creating a vision board to me is one of my favorite vision boards or goals that I set up for myself, because it's something that I'm envisioning for myself. And I have it looked up right in my desk area, my little office area. And when I look at it, I just love it so much, because it's me. Every time when I'm doing something at my work and I'm looking up, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to accomplish this, that. And it's just, I'm a more of a visual learner. So me visually seeing it is really helping me to know in the process that, yeah, I rock with this. I vibes with this. Like, I see that. I know exactly what I want. I envision myself doing that. And it's just something that you can look at and it's visually pleasing. Because you have to create things that are visually pleasing to you. You have to look at stuff. You have to envision stuff. You have to think about stuff that would please to you, that will make you feel like, you know what? I like this.
Since we're talking about stepping into our best selves, let me put you on FYTO glasses, which is FYTOO. They instantly level up your look while you're at work, brunch, or just on Zoom. Plus, you could get 15% off by using my code NIECEYS, NIECEYYS. And also, if you want to get some prescription glasses without breaking the bank, definitely hit up FYTO.
I like this. Like, I really do. Like, no lie, I do like this. Or, oh my God, I love how I put that picture of a car. Because that's what I did. When I created my vision board a few years ago, I had a picture of a future car that I wanted. And I just looked at it and I said, this is what I want in my future. And lo and behold, I got the car that I wanted. Yes, it took me probably 2 years, but that's 2 years that I was able to set my goal, get my finances in order, and be prepared to get the dream car that I wanted. So I love vision boards. I feel like that works with me. Using even the quarterly goals, it works sometimes, but the vision boards to me is one of my favorite. Next is digital goals like Pinterest. I absolutely love Pinterest. Pinterest is another thing that's visually pleasing to me. When I go to Pinterest, I look at it, I feel like it's just a vision board, but in a digital format, because every goal that you have set for yourself is literally there. But the difference to me, is your vision board, you could actually write different things on it. You could write quotes on it. You could write affirmations. You could write step-by-step goals on it. As opposed to like a Pinterest vision board is just digital pictures explaining everything in the future. It doesn't really go into detail and into wording as a vision board would. And I like Pinterest vision boards. That's something you can have in your wallpaper on your phone or your laptop or your screensaver, whichever. It's just something that is just visually pleasing as well, if you're kind of into that, because that definitely helps in the process. And a future presentation report. So this is something that I actually did as well. So when you're doing a future presentation report, you're basically getting a lot of pictures. And when you're getting a lot of pictures and you compound them together, you're literally writing that I have this, I have that. You don't have it yet, but you're speaking in present tense for the future that you have it. For instance, let's say you want a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom house. So you take a picture of a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom house that you want and you put it on your presentation. You could do a PowerPoint, you could do Canva, you could do vision board, you could do digital, whichever. And you're putting, I have a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house that has this, that has that. I'm so happy that I accomplished my goal to get this house. Or you could put, I wanted this Beamer. I have this 2027 Beamer that I really, really wanted and I accomplished my goal. Like, you do something like that, but you're doing it in the future, but in present tense form. That's like you envisioning that this is what I have, even though you don't have it as yet, but it's you preparing your mind and prepping your mind for that, the things that you do have and how you're going to accomplish it and how you're going to move forward from there. And I really feel like when you have your different type of goals, you got to find out what really works with you. That's why I always feel like February is the best time, because January is like your trial and error month. You're literally thinking about how you're going to move forward with this. You're like, oh crap, how am I going to accomplish this goal for the rest of the year if in January I can't get it right? And it happens. And I feel like that's why I always consider January a trial month, because it's the best month to make mistakes, learn from it, and then you move on and you know what aligns and what works with you and more in the future. And it literally goes on to my point about trial and error, using experiences as examples. So when it comes to trial and error, like there are instances, like I never forget, like a few years ago, I said like, yeah, in January, I'm going to have this intense workout plan. And the workout plan did not align with me at all because, you know, life happens, things happen. Maybe I got injured. Maybe there's something that I did. Maybe I overdid it. It's so many things, different things happen. And I was just saying to myself, okay, maybe if I take a step back and I start off maybe 2 to 3 times a week to see how that works with my body and how my body works with it, and then gradually increase as I go, instead of just diving in and then booyah, I'm injured, this happened. Because that happened to me before. Literally, I was going hard in the paint like Waka Flocka working out, and I literally sprained my shoulder that I had to be on muscle relaxer. I had to take like ibuprofen because it was swollen, and I missed like probably a month of the gym because I was just trying to do too much. And I feel like, especially when you're one of those people that, yeah, new year, new me, you're going to the gym, you're going to try your different workouts, you have to find out what sticks. You got to find out a workout schedule. You have to find out what resonates with you and what doesn't resonate with you. That's why I always feel like January, again, is your trial and error month. I feel like I repeated myself 1,000 times, but I definitely want you guys to know that January is your trial and error month, and don't feel ashamed if you probably fall back to old habits, because life happens, things happen, it happens, you're human, we're all human. That's why you gradually move on to February. You say, okay, February, I'm going to take a different approach. March, a different approach. And then that's how you move forward. That's the way how it goes back to the daily affirmation. I don't chase timelines, I build momentum. You have to build momentum in that process, and you have to learn from your mistakes and learn how to move on to create a better vision, a goal, to reset, to revamp. And that's all a part of growing up and leveling up in life. Like, people think, like, you see all these influencers on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and trust me, I follow most of them that you probably follow as well. And the way how they talk to you, like you have to do everything now, 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 now. It doesn't work like that. Again, life happens. Like, literally, you could be on the top of the top, and then boom, your life come crashing down. That's why I always feel like, that's why I always say one thing I'm happy about is the way how I envision myself is whenever I create a vision, I create a goal, I always say to myself, if I don't accomplish it this year, I'm going to accomplish it next year. If I don't accomplish it this month, I'm going to accomplish it next month. Last year, again, trial and error, I had the goal of reading 10 books. I was literally 2 books shy from reaching it. In December, I just declined. I was just like, I totally declined in December because it's my birthday month, it's the holidays, it's Christmas. I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. And I'm still reading my Christmas book. This is a whole new year. And I started out, I'm still reading a Christmas book that I'm literally almost done, probably less than 100 pages of it. And I'm almost done. And I'm redoing my goals this year, because once that book is finished, I have 9 more to go. And I have the list of books that I want to read. But I learned to myself that I can't, another thing, when you're in your trial and error process, when you're trying to build your vision board, you have to be hard on yourself, but you can't be too hard on yourself. In terms of, you have to hold yourself accountable, but you can't down talk yourself. Because how are you going to build that momentum to continue to keep going if you are terrible to yourself? You're holding yourself accountable. That's absolutely the goal. But you can't treat yourself and say bad things to yourself thinking that's going to work. Because when I hear people say that, I feel like negative praise does not help you at all. Because it shatters your it shatters your self-esteem for you to have low self-esteem. I feel like there's nothing wrong with trying to hype yourself up, but still give yourself accountability. Me, when it comes to accountability, I always gotta hold myself accountable. Sometimes I say to myself, like, damn, like, you really was eating like a pig this week. But you know what you could do? You could take a step back, revamp, and regroup. Or when it comes to me, so every year, I always have on my vision board when it comes to saving money. And then I always hard on myself because I do like to shop. But since of lately, I've learned to ease back and find out if something that I need or I want, and that's helping me in the process. But that's me holding myself accountable, but me not being too hard on myself, because I still say to myself, oh my God, you should definitely treat yourself to at least something like $10 to Dunkin' Donuts, like a latte or a donut, and call yourself a day. Like, that's how I have to think about it. And that's how, when you're creating your vision, your goal, you have to think about it as well. Because at the end of the day, life do happen, and we do fall back to old habits. And I feel like that's okay as long as you pick yourself up and get back to it. Now, if you fall into complete old habits and you just shatter and that's it, then that's when you gotta have one accountability, and you gotta kind of prep yourself up to take it one day at a time. Now, when it comes to creating your vision board, creating your goals, your quarterly goals, your half a goals, all type of goals, being ambitious without burning out is something that we have to take part in, because many of us, we tend to go overboard to the point that we burn ourselves out, and that's how we fall back into old habits, and that's how we get tired and lazy. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when it comes to me creating a workout plan, that's what's happened many times, because I provided the example before how in January when I was going hard at the gym and I sprained my shoulder and I had to take a step back. I couldn't really work out much for a month. So what that pretty much led me to do, fall back into old habits. I had to really revamp myself to get back to working out. And that's why I feel like you have to find different ways to not burn yourself out, but still achieve your goals. Now, for instance, like people that are trying to pay off debt. So you're trying to severely pay off debt. Let's say you get another job, just throw nothing. You get another job to severely pay off debt. You have to also think about it. You're going to be trying to pay off so much debt. You're going to be working, let's say you're working like 60 hours a week, 60, 70 hours a week. You're going to burn yourself out because that extra money that you're using, you're paying it towards that, you're not going to have time to literally sit down and think about your self-care. And then you're going to burn yourself out. And then sometimes when you burn yourself out, you get sick, your body shuts down on you, and then you have to take time off. Take time off, you don't get all the money that you had before. And then it's to the point that you're like, okay, you gotta revamp and do everything all over again. So I found this little article on Forbes by Vanessa Luder, Loder, and she gave different types of steps how to be ambitious without burning yourself out. And I want to share them with you all. So number one, you set clear goals, but you be flexible. That's like, I feel like you have to do that. When you set clear goals, you have to be flexible with your goals, because I've always said to you, life happens, and life happens. Those are like the top three things I can always say, because you could have one goal and something else could happen. This goes back to a saying that my mother always told me: when you set goals, gotta wipe out. When you are planned, God is wiping out. And you may not believe in God, but this is a saying that my mother always told me that I always thought about it. Because there is instances where I'm always planning something, and God does wipe that out, and then on to next. Number two, visualize. You have to visualize what you want, but also be flexible in that matter. I knew the type of car that I wanted, but I was flexible when it came to the color and the year. And the reason why I said that, hear me out. Sometimes the goal that you have right now, you could have something, you have a bigger plan for it. Something better will come. Because the car that I wanted, I actually wanted a car that was probably a year or two older than the car that I had. And the color that I wanted wasn't the color that I got. But I was flexible with it. I was like, you know what? It doesn't hurt to have a newer year car. You know, it doesn't hurt to be the first owner. It doesn't hurt to have this color instead of that color. And that's something that I had to really understand, so I don't burn myself out in the process. Also, when it comes to visualizing, when it comes to like setting up a debt management plan, like you want to cut down debt, you have to visualize how you're going to cut down the debt. You have to think about how you're going to cut down debt, but you have to be flexible as well, because life happens. Accidents happens. Illness happens, unfortunately. So you also have to plan for that, and also think about that and visualize, okay, I'm going to set aside $100 a month, right? Just set aside $100 a month for savings. I'm setting aside $100 a month for savings, and I have to visualize, like, what if there's a mistake? Thank God I had $100 going to help me out. Don't burn yourself out in the process. Like, oh my God, I just spent this $100 that I had in my savings, and God forbid it. Be grateful that you have that, because a lot of people do not. Feel success. So when you are in the process of achieving your goals, create your vision board, your quarterly goals, whichever, you have to feel the success. You have to know that you're going to get closer to your goal. Another thing is that when I was creating my vision board on the type of job that I wanted or type of certification I wanted, I had to feel the success. I have to feel that if I do this, I could accomplish that. And I have to find ways to say, okay, I need to just relax, regroup, and calm down. I don't want to burn myself out in the process, but I also want to find what's going to help me to be successful in life. I have to find out what's going to help me to evolve. You have to feel that success. When you feel that success, you know, again, it goes back to setting clear goals and being flexible. When you feel success coming your way, you have to, one, move in silence, because I feel like that's very important in today's world, because too much bad mind energy. And number two, you have to really sit down and say to yourself, okay, I'm creating these goals. I am trying not to overwork myself, but I know that I have the end goal that I'm going to achieve it. I love when I go on TikTok and I hear stories about women that accomplish their goals, accomplished the car that they wanted, they got the house that they wanted, they got the job that they wanted, they worked hard for it. But they also learn how to create a balance, hearing their tips and how they take it one day at a time, how they do this, how to do that. But you have to create a balance. You have to be flexible in that matter. Because when you be flexible, you're open to other opportunities that you would never expect. Now, when I got my master's and I was a claims specialist, I didn't think about what I wanted to do. I was stressing, and I wasn't really burning myself out, but I was stressing on what I really wanted to accomplish and where the hell I was heading towards. Because I didn't know what the hell I was heading towards. I was like, what the hell? Where am I going? What am I doing with my life? I'm a claims specialist making like $14 or $17 an hour. I have my master's degree. I don't know where the hell I'm heading to. And I had to literally sit back and think, I have to feel the success. I have to know that it's going to be up from here. And I have to set clear goals and be flexible. I have to know that I'm getting a promotion one way or another. I'm moving up one way or another. And I would pray and I would think about it. How can I evolve without not overdoing it, not burning myself out, and not feeling stressed out in the process? And long and behold, I was offered a job opportunity that made me just go up from there. And that's the way how I thought about it. And that's what helped me really to evolve and to really grow, was feeling the success, setting clear goals that I could definitely be flexible with, and visualizing that I know better is destined for me. And also, taking a break is something that you definitely have to do, because when you're feeling ambitious, you're going to burn yourself out. And I'll be honest with you, when I started doing my YouTube, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And when I was trying to be more onto like YouTube, doing Instagram, podcast, everything, I was stressing myself out. And when I tell you I was stressing myself out, I felt burned out. That's why I took a complete break from doing my podcast. I had to take that break. I had to sit back and I had to just say to myself, like, I don't want to burn myself out in the process. I still want to evolve. I still want to grow. I still want to do something I love doing, but I don't want to burn myself out. And I feel like when you're trying to create your vision, you're trying to create a goal, you are going to burn yourself out one way or the other. And that's why it's very important for you to take a break. You may not think you're burning yourself out, but you really are, because you're trying to do so much different things. You're trying to accomplish so many different things. You're trying to envision so many different things. And sometimes we have timelines. Hell, I want to do this accomplished by the end of the month. I want to do this by the end of 3 months. Oh, by the end of the year. And you start saying, okay, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? And you burn yourself out without even thinking about it. I have burned myself out so many times last year that I said in 2026, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, because when you do that, it literally it drains your mental health. You fall back into bad eating habits. You don't really want to work out. You don't really want to do nothing. You go to other things. People see it in your face. People say, oh my God, what? Like you could, like people literally envision that. And that's how you know you got to take a step back and you got to really chill and be happy. When you're in the process of trying to evolve, you got to be happy at where you're at. You got to meet yourself where you're at. And what I mean by that is that you have to literally take a step back and say to yourself, right now, I didn't accomplish what I want, but I'm so proud of myself in this process. Literally, last year I had a goal that I would have probably got 2,000 YouTube viewers. So I try to put so much content out there. I was feeling burned out. I had to regroup. And I said to myself, be happy at where I am, because not many people, some people do, some people do not. Not many people that's trying to start something and be genuine in process, they reach the level that they want. They reach 1,000 followers in a night, overnight. When I hear these people say they reach so many followers overnight, I'm saying to myself, sometimes I'm wondering if they're buying, or, and this is me being honest, if they're buying, or some people just got like that, one or the other. But I feel like in that entire process, be happy with the level that you are when you're setting your goal, when you're creating your goal. Let's say you have a goal that you're going to lose 20 pounds in 3 months. Let's say you lost 15 pounds and you're like, oh, damn, like I did all this hard work, only 15 pounds. Be happy that you lost 15 pounds. You are 15 pounds lighter than you were 3 months ago. You have to think about that in the process. Yes, you've been working hard, you've been putting in work, but sometimes you just have to be happy with the current state that you are right now, and know that you are achieving the goal, and do not let anybody tell you otherwise. Lastly, when you are trying to be ambitious and you realize you are burning yourself out, there's other factors that come into play. You have to learn how to say no. So as a former people pleaser, you have to learn how to say no to things that may burn you out. When you're creating your vision board and you have your goals and somebody comes in and asks this and that, you have to learn how to say no, or you have to learn how to say no to yourself in that process. Let's say you got a bonus from work. You worked so hard at work, you got a $10,000 bonus, right? And you said that you wanted to, let's say by the end of the year, you want to have 50K saved up. So you have 30K saved up. So you say, oh, I could put 5K and I could have 5K for myself. But let's say you really want a bag. Like you see a bag that you really want, throw it out there. Like you want a Chanel bag. And let's say you want a Chanel bag. And the Chanel bag, you see two in a different color that you want. And you're like, damn, this blue and black one look nice. And that'll equal up to like 10K. Let's say, I don't know how much Chanel bags really cost. They vary. So let's say they're about 10K. And you're like, should I really get these two? You know, I worked hard last year. I should definitely get these two. You have in mind that you said you're going to put 5K in the savings and you're going to have 5K in the bag. But there's another color that you really want that you're not sure it's going to be back again. And you say to yourself, you have to learn to tell yourself no. In that process, in that time frame, you have to tell yourself no. You have to say, no, I'm not getting this bag. You have to literally sit down and think like that. Because if you do not think like that, that's when you're really going to go back into bad spending habits, and that extra 5K that you could have had in a bank account that could have helped you in the future. I do that too, because sometimes I always have in the back of my mind, like if I like something and then I think like that, I have to get it now, when in reality it's something that I want and that I need. And the reason why I say that is because there's nothing wrong with spoiling yourself, nothing wrong with giving yourself something that you really want. There are many times where I say, like, last year I got a bonus at work last year, and what I did with it, I put more towards, like, I paid off a little debt that I had, not too crazy, and there was something that I really wanted, and I bought myself it. Then I put some in savings, because that's how I learned to spread out my money, to say, to put towards debt, to save, and to, well, I'm not gonna say it was a lot, but it was something that I'm grateful for. But you know what I mean? Like, I just have to do that. I have to learn to tell myself no. And at that time, I could have bought that damn Tiffany and Co bag, but I said, no, I'll wait to it. And now I see people getting it cheaper at Marshall's or TJ Maxx, and I can't even get it. And some of them not even Tiffany and Co bag. They're just following off a damn trend of TikTok. Let me chill. They're just following a trend on TikTok. But that's a bag that I really wanted, and I could have got it. I let it at the time when it was on Tiffany. It was like $1,700 for the one that I wanted, and I could have got it. I really said to myself, but I said no. I'm going to use it towards debt and something else. And yes, I'm a little upset because this is a bag I've been wanting, and I see people that are not really fans, and they're just getting it for the aesthetic. Some people are reselling it, whatever. And it's like, I had to tell myself, I'm still okay with it without it. It is what it is. Like, of course, I'm a little hurt as a fan. There's something that if you want a product, you want it. But you also have to learn that life happens and they're still richer and you're still trying to get there. That's the way I think about it. Like, as much as I love Tiffany & Co., as much as I have to understand that I have other priorities I got to take in order. I have to learn how to tell myself, no, no, no. It's the same way how, like, whenever, like, imagine you saving 10K. Imagine you have 10K saved up. You took forever to save those 10K. Then you have somebody coming to you asking you for 8 grand. You gotta tell them no. My mother always told me, when anybody begs you money and they put a high number, you tell them you could give them this amount, and in the back of your mind, you have to think that what if they don't pay you back? You are still comfortable. And what I mean by that, let's say if somebody asks for $1,000, and you know $1,000 goes a long way, and you say, no, I can't give you $1,000, but I can give you $200, $300. They have to be okay with that, because you're saying in the back of your mind, okay, $300 is not going to kill me too much, but $1,000 will kill me more. You have to think like that. Like, whenever, like, somebody would, depending on how much somebody asks me, if it's like $100, I could probably spare $100. Gonna say to myself, okay, what if they don't give me $100 back? Do I still have that in case I need it for myself? Yes? All right, good. Always have it in the back of your mind. When it comes to money, always think to yourself that if you lend somebody money, think, are you ever going to get this money back? Depending on who you are, there are some people that I know that I could, but some people under $50, because I know I may not get that back, and I'm okay with that, because I'm always grateful to help somebody else out. But if I know that person doesn't really, it is what it is. And that's just something I have to learn in the process. Everybody's different. There's some people that can lend $100 that I know I'm gonna get it back. Some people I can lend $20, I know I'm not gonna get it back. You know what I mean? That's just this process that you have to think about. That's why you have to learn how to say no. When it comes to trying to accomplish your goals and accomplish your visions, you have to learn the different things to not burn yourself out, but still find ways to be happy and accomplish your goals. Because in today's world, there's so many things going on. Life is life, and things are happening that you have to understand that not everybody's vision boards and how they do their goals is going to fit yours. And that's something that I had to know. That's why I always think of January, and I keep repeating it, as the trial and error month. Sometimes even the first 3 months of the year are the trial and error month. January, February, March. They're always a trial and error month. Always. They're always a trial and error months. Because let's say something you did in January doesn't work in February. Doesn't work in February, but it works in March. So you say to yourself, okay, this worked in January, this worked in March, but this worked in February. How am I going to move forward? How am I going to switch? How am I going to evolve? Like, that's how you think about it. That's what you do in the process. And that's why I knew it was only up from there. That's why and another thing, last thing I'm going to tell you, whenever you're doing your vision, regarding your vision board, your quarterly goals, whichever, always trying to keep it in a safe space so you can always look at it and glance at it and always think about, okay, I have this that I want to accomplish. I have this goal. I have that goal. I have that goal. Because I've heard a lot of celebrities, I've heard a lot of TikTokers, I heard a lot of people say that's how it helps them to really to evolve into the individual that they are today. They found different ways that works with them. They found different ways to envision things, to move forward. And that's how they really grew, and that's how they are. And I love hearing stories like that. I just feel like it's so beneficial to hear people, how they look back at their goals and think back. Because I have done it before. There's some goals that I have that I thought about, and I said, let me look at them. And it's like probably from like 2021. So I'm like, damn, I really accomplished it. I got the car that I wanted. I got the place that I wanted. I got this that I want. I'm like, damn, like I really evolved. I may not have gotten this job, but I got that job. I was like, damn, like your girl really doing it. Like, I'm proud of myself. I'm like, damn, like I'm really doing it. I'm really doing it. And that's how you have to do it for yourself as well. Like literally, that's how you gotta do it for yourself.
Thanks for tuning into Glow Up with Niecey. If today's episode spoke to you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a Glow Up bestie. Want more behind the scenes and real life glow up content? Come hang with me on YouTube at Niecey's World. And if you haven't already, grab a copy of my book, Niecey's Glow Up Blueprint. It's your guide to becoming your best self. You can find it linked right here in the show notes. Until next time, keep glowing, keep growing, and never stop becoming her.